Hello boys and girls, hello families. Today I'm going to do a quick intro to 3D shapes. And if you can see up here on my desk, I have some of the 3D shapes that we're going to see. So we're going to see a sphere, a cylinder, a cube, a cone, a triangular prism, a rectangular prism, and a pyramid. Now some of these shapes might sound familiar to you and some of them might not. Okay, so I'm going to start with the first shape, a sphere. And I know it's a little bit hard to see on the document camera, but I have a sphere here. And a sphere reminds me of like a beach ball, a soccer ball, or a baseball. Okay, it's all round, there are no edges and there are no flat sides on my sphere. Yeah, we'll see if that stays there. All right, the next one is a cylinder. Okay, I'm going to show you some of the sides of the cylinder here so you can get a better look for it. Okay, so we see that a cylinder has a circle on the top and a circle on the bottom, and the sides are all round. An example of a cylinder would be a can of soup or maybe a can of pop. I'll leave that there. Next shape we have is a cube. Now most of you are probably familiar with a cube. Okay, we can see that it's made up of squares on all sides, on the top and the bottom, the front side, the back side, the right side, and the left side are all cubes, and this reminds me of a dice. Okay, let me see if I can scooch those down here. Okay, the next one is a cone. And if you're like me, you might be thinking of an ice cream cone. Okay, so this is what a cone looks like, or maybe a party hat. Okay, it has one point at the top or vertex, and it has a flat circle shape on the bottom. Whoops. And all the sides around it are round or curved. Okay. All right, next one is a triangular prism. And I can see part of the word triangle in the word triangular prism. And that's just what we're going to see in our shape. Both the front and the back of our shape have a triangle, and it's long and has flat sides on 3 of the sides. Okay, so that's a triangular prism. I do not have a rectangular prism to show you in my block set actually, but I can see the word rectangle in the word rectangular prism. So I want you to think of like the long kind of a Kleenex box or a long shoe box. That would be a rectangular prism. The last one is a pyramid. Okay. So the bottom of the pyramid is actually a square, and then it has some longer triangle shapes on the 4 sides, meeting at one vertex or one point up at the top. Okay. So I have some shapes that I'm going to sort with you. You do not have this paper in your packet, so don't look for it. It's just something for me to help you kind of identify some shapes. So we're going to start with the sphere. The first one I have, the example of a real life object would be a tennis ball or a bowling ball. Okay, I know I mentioned a soccer ball or a basketball or a baseball. Those are all real life objects too. Moving next to our cylinder, some real life objects of a cylinder could be a can of peas that you might see in your pantry, or a can of soda, like I said, pop, or maybe a can of soup. Okay, moving next to our cube, you might have some toy blocks at home that would be in the shape of a cube. And we used to use these, boys and girls, when we were at school every week. I miss being at school. Our dice when we would do our roll and write for our sight words. Okay, and for our cone is our next one. We have a party hat for a cone. The little loop down here is like the string that would go underneath your chin. Okay, and the object marker, you might see this on the side of the road during construction, or if there's a car pulled over on the side of the road and you have to go around, they might put out a cone. Okay, I know it's sitting on this square base here, but if we kind of covered that up, you could see the outline of the cone. All right, what about some examples of a triangular prism? I'm going to move this up just a smidge. Okay. What about a tent? Has anybody slept in a tent that looked like that before? Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. I did one time when I was in high school. One of our teachers took us on a camping trip and we all slept in tents like that. The next one example of a triangular prism would be the roof of this house. You know, it's getting kind of hard to see in here, so let me move some of these up. All right, there we go. Okay, so I just want you to focus. I'm going to use my marker to kind of outline the triangular prism here. Okay, so just that top part of the house is the triangular prism. So if I put the shape kind of like this, you can kind of see it a little bit better. Okay. A rectangular prism, remember I said a shoebox or a Kleenex box, like the long kind? Well, here's an example of a shoebox. And the other example that I didn't think of a rectangular prism is a cereal box. I bet you all have one of those in your house. I love to have cereal in the morning. And the last one is our pyramid. Now remember, the pyramid has a square on the bottom and 1 point on the top and 4 flat sides. Okay, so you might see one in a steeple, and the steeple is like that pointy part up there at the top of the church. Let me show you. It's this shape up here. Okay. Or have you ever seen pictures of the monuments in Egypt, the pyramids in Egypt? Those are pyramids. Fancy that. All right, so those are some examples of the 3D shapes and some real life examples. There is also a 3D shapes page in your packet that has the rectangular prism. I'm just going to show this really quickly over here. That shows you the rectangular prism on here as well. So you do have this page in your packet to help you later on as you work in your workbook. Okay? I hope my example helped you out a little bit.